I'll start off by saying this. We all have two wolves inside of us. The one you are is depending on the one you elect to feed. Um, I think that in this current climate, and in more popularly in this culture, we tend to kind of look at the nice guy as the weak guy, right? We say nice and being weak, but I think there's a clear difference in a clear line, and I think the brothers did a really good job of laying out everything. Don't be a nice guy. Be a good man. You know what I'm saying? Be a considerate man. You know, be a man of virtue. Be a man of who is stoic. Be a man who possesses a sort of instinct about him, about how he carries himself and how he shows himself in the world. There's nothing wrong with being nice. You know what I'm saying? We say good morning to people in the on our way to into the office. Whether we're interacting with close families or etc. Right? I think there's a level of courteous that's always extended to people to show that we're non-threatening, just like Rilla had expressed. I think sometimes it gets too focused on being nice, like everybody has to be almost like an asshole all the time to let people know that you're not to be messed with, right? It's almost like a defense mechanism. People are always like this hard, like stoic look, but you know, you don't have to let your guard down to let people know where the line and the boundary lies. I think for me, it's more about being, what I'm saying, being the type of man or showing up in a type of way where you don't have to worry about displaying any sense of weaknesses, because the way that you talk to people, people will get across that you are considerate, but you're also not to be messed with. So that's all I got.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and go to you, Sweeney. What your thoughts about it, sir?
If I'm being honest, I missed the video, and I don't want to hold y'all up by making you replay it.
Well, I probably need to play it for clout too. That's probably, and so I'll go ahead and play it, and then we'll see. We'll come right back to you, Sweeney. Like a plan?
Yeah, sound like a play.
All right.
Exhausted with the idea that niceness is somehow a character deficiency. The contention of the conversation has heightened to the measure that it's turned into semantic silliness about kind versus nice and how they differ. Now, if you want to create your own interpretation based on perspective, then of course you'll be able to argue definition. But if you use a dictionary, nice and kind are the same thing. And the argument goes as thus: I don't like nice people because you can manipulate them. I don't like nice people because you can run them over. If that is your description of a nice person, then your assessment is completely inaccurate. That's not a nice person. That's a weak person. A weak person can be manipulated. A weak person can be ran over. All niceness and kindness speak to is consistency of politeness, consistency of chivalry, consistency of courtesy, which is actually a demonstration of strength. If you can maintain your poised, gentlemanly, or ladylike behavior amidst all of the chaos in the society we live in, that is in no way a weak attribute. So whenever I hear somebody say a person is too nice, I always say to myself, this individual doesn't understand love, because the Bible says love is kind and kind is nice. But regardless of the simplicity of that explanation, there are those who will debate it, because there is no measure of niceness or kindness that will sober a person that is drunk on toxicity or inebriated on manipulation. If all they know is cruelty, then kindness looks dysfunctional to them. If all they know is nonsense, then niceness is a turnoff. People mistake niceness for weakness, test you, and then find out there's a killer on the other side of this kindness. I had a lady say to me, nice guys always finish last. I looked back at her and said, well, in a relationship with a woman, I thought that was a good thing. Shoes and food.
So it's funny because he actually said what I was actually thinking. And this is why I always say words mean things. Because we like to take words and then turn them into other things that they're not. What I find interesting is anytime you normally hear a lady complain about nice guys and they say, oh, I thought he was nice, he only stops being nice when he starts to assert his boundaries. Or you cross a boundary of his, and then all of a sudden he's toxic. Or he wasn't who he said he was, or he was love bombing you, or things like that. So I'm in complete agreement with them when we try to differentiate and say, "Oh, don't be a nice guy, be a good man." No, there's nothing wrong with being nice. We got to stop because what happens is we give people outs when they're trying to redefine words and say, "Oh, well, it means this," and I'm like, "No, you just like you said, you just saw a weak person." And more often than not, you tend to see people like to take advantage of weak people and then say they were nice. Or I don't like a nice guy because I can walk all over him. That's not how nice works. That's how a weak man works. But that's not a nice person. So I'm in complete agreement with them. And like I said, most people are nice and they complain about a nice guy. The only time you ever hear them complain about a nice guy is when he starts to assert his boundaries. When he says, "Okay, I'm cool with, I'm willing to do this for you, but don't cross this." And then all of a sudden that nice guy becomes a problem.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and go to you. Kenny, what are your thoughts about it, sir?
Good evening, gentlemen. I think it's clear cut. Nice and kind does not mean you're unwise. I grew up in the Bronx on 166. There was a nice guy that always sent me to the store. He was very kind to me. He used to give me a little $1, $2, and I appreciated it. But there was one day I came out the building, and then there was police speaking to him, and his name was Larry Davis. All my life as a kid, I knew him to be kind and nice. He wasn't what you thought on the other side. That does not mean that you are weak. Everyone's an opportunist. It depends on what they want to take from you. The term that somebody told me one time, if you can't be used, you're useless. Listen, that goes through life. We all are used in some way, good, bad, and different. It's just what's your ROI on the other side. So it's clear cut. Nice and kind is from someone that doesn't want to tell the story of why they didn't get their way with that person. You're hiding an agenda. You only say things to other people about somebody if you didn't agree with the outcome of what you didn't get, most of the times. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and go to you, Cloud. What are your thoughts about it, sir?
I agree with most of what everyone said so far, but one area where I guess I differ a little bit is I find that, colloquially, like the way we use nice, even though a nice person is like a kind person, right? I think colloquially the way we use nice is usually to associate with things that we don't know how to define. Like, an experience that was not good or bad, like a lukewarm experience. Like, how was the party? I mean, it was nice, Did you have a good time? Yeah, it was nice. This is nice. It's like usually a way of explaining something that doesn't really move us, right? And so I think it might be a bad word to use, but I think the nice guy is often associated with someone who's disingenuous or someone who's a people pleaser. So if when we're talking about nice, we're talking about that being disingenuous and being a people pleaser, then I would say that that person would qualify as weak. However, if we're talking about a kind person, which I think is very different than being nice, like someone who's kind is someone who's like loving, giving, they share what they can, they'll give you the shirt off their back if you need. I think kindness is absolutely a strength. But niceness might not always be a strength. There are people who are nice, but they aren't kind. And there are people who are kind and aren't really nice. Like and a lot of times they say that about New York. Like they say like, New Yorkers may come off kind of standoffish, but they'll help you. Like they'll actually help you where they say, I mean, I don't know if this is true, but they say like the opposite is true. Like on the West Coast, they say on the West Coast, everybody smile in your face and say, "What's up?" But they're not really going to help you out or really, really put you in a position to win. So sometimes we conflate niceness and kindness because, nice has always kind of been associated with something good. But I just think in the times now we got to differentiate. We got to be very specific. So kindness is where it's at. I think more people should be kind. People should be kind to one another. You should be kind to your friends. You should be kind to your enemies. Men should be kind to women. Women should be kind to men.